Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into the art of thinking clearly to really get a handle on the hidden glitches in your brain. The systematic errors that we all make every single day without even realizing it.
All right, let's kick things off with a quick puzzle. So meet Chris. He's 35 years old. He's got a background in social philosophy. He's worked for the Red Cross over in West Africa, and he even got an MBA. So what do you think is more likely? A, Chris works for a major bank. Or B, Chris works for a major bank and he runs its Foundation for the Third World. Go ahead, take a second and lock in your answer.
Okay, so if you went with option B, your brain just fell for a classic mental trap. It's called the conjunction fallacy. And here's why A is actually way, way more likely. Just think about it. The group of all bankers is huge, right? But the group of bankers who also run a third world foundation, well, that's just a tiny little slice of the first group. So logically, A has to be more probable. But that extra detail in B felt so right, so plausible, that our intuition just took over and overruled logic. So what was that? What was that little mental tripwire you just experienced? Well, it's the perfect example of what we're talking about in this first section, your brain's hidden glitches. You just had a firsthand experience with a cognitive error. Now here's the crucial part. These are not just random oops moments. They are predictable bugs hardwired into our mental operating system. These are routine patterns of thought that affect every single one of us, no matter how smart we think we are. So how do these glitches actually pop up in our day-to-day lives? Well, let's start with some of the most common ones. The ways we consistently fool ourselves. We all do this, and why wouldn't we? The world we see is like a highlight reel of success. Triumph gets all the attention, it gets a massive spotlight, while failure is almost always silent and totally invisible. And that creates a profoundly warped view of reality. For instance, just think about the world of authors and books. We see the one superstar author, the one whose book becomes a massive global bestseller. Their success is incredibly visible, it's everywhere. But what we don't see are the thousands upon thousands of failures. This is a classic cognitive error, survivorship bias. We get fixated on that one triumphant survivor, and we totally ignore the vast, silent graveyard of failures. And that graveyard represents the true odds, making success look dangerously easy to achieve. Have you ever felt this? Can't be honest. You're an hour into a truly terrible movie, but you stay because, you paid for the tickets. Or maybe you're sticking with a project at work that's clearly failing just because so much time and money has already been poured into it. This is the sunk cost fallacy in action. Logically, the money you already spent is gone. It's a sunk cost. It should be completely irrelevant to the decision you need to make right now, but our brains just hate to admit a loss. So we double down, irrationally throwing good money after bad, trapping ourselves in losing stocks, dead-end projects, and even bad relationships. Okay, so these glitches don't just mess with how we see ourselves, they fundamentally distort how we see the entire world around us. So how exactly are we misjudging things? We do this all the time. We confuse the results of something with the criteria for selecting it in the first place. For example, you look at professional swimmers with their lean, powerful physiques and you think, wow, swimming must be the secret to getting that body. This is a classic trap, and it's called the swimmer's body illusion. And this right here lays out the trap perfectly. The illusion is that the activity, swimming, gives people those athletic bodies. But the reality? They're chosen for those bodies to begin with. The same exact thing goes for Harvard. Does it make people successful? Not necessarily. It's just exceptionally good at selecting people who are probably going to succeed anyway. We're confusing the selection criteria with the outcome. And this is the halo effect in all its glory. Back in 2000, Cisco's stock was on fire, and that success created a blinding halo. The CEO was a visionary. The strategy was genius. But then, just 1 year later, the stock collapsed. And that halo? It completely shattered. Suddenly, the very same CEO was boring. The very same strategy was a total mess. Nothing fundamental had really changed except the stock price. But that one single thing completely flipped how the entire company was judged. So after all this, you might be thinking, great, my brain is just a buggy mess. Are we all just doomed to make bad decisions? Well, not quite. The argument here is that there's actually a practical way forward, a path to chiseling away at these errors. I mean, what a powerful idea, right? The secret to his masterpiece wasn't about adding more marble or having some brilliant flash of inspiration. It was about subtraction, about taking away everything that didn't belong. And the exact same thing applies to our thinking.
And this brings us to the core lesson of the whole thing. The path to thinking more clearly isn't about chasing these fleeting moments of brilliance. It's about systematically avoiding the dumb, predictable mistakes. In other words, it's not about trying to become a genius. It's about becoming less irrational by learning what not to do. So here it is. This simple 3-step process is our game plan. It's not some quest for perfection. It's better to think of it as an insurance policy against your own worst mental habits. It's a way to protect yourself from all those unnecessary, self-inflicted errors.
And that's really the power of this whole idea. Just by listening today, just by learning about survivorship bias or the sunk cost fallacy, you've already started the work. You've begun to see the parts that are not David, because recognizing the glitch is the first and most critical step. So what part of not David are you going to chisel away first?